It's Friday, February 14. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Carol Francis. The test results for all three patients who were placed in isolation for investigation of the novel coronavirus or COVID-19 have come back negative. The results for the second and third patients were received on Thursday, February 13 from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, following on the receipt of the first from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on Wednesday, February 12. The first patient, who arrived in Jamaica on January 30, presented at the Anota Bay Hospital and was later isolated for further investigation. The public was informed on February 10 and 12, respectively, of the second and third persons being put in isolation. In the case of the second, the individual had an elevated temperature which was detected while in quarantine. The third individual was put in isolation after being detected with a fever on arrival at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay on February 11. All three patients will now be discharged given their negative test results. The ministry is reminding the public that quarantine and isolation procedures are in place to allow for the detection and early investigation of all persons who may have been exposed to the virus. 4 health centers in St. James are soon to receive major development work. These centers serve the communities of Granville, Barrett Town, Adelphi, and Lanka. Speaking at the recent launch, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said the development work was aligned with the government's 10-year plan for the sector.
Apart from the upgrades that will be done, there's also going to be more personnel, more equipment, and greater levels of curative services.
The head of the European Union delegation to Jamaica was also at the launch.
The European Union is strongly committed to both national and global health security. Here in Jamaica, this is why we have focused our efforts and encouraged other actors to do so.
Over 39,000 students will sit the ability test of the Primary Exit Profile PEP examinations on February 25. Education Minister Carl Samuda says he is confident they will do well.
And I sympathize with the parents and the students who may be a little squeamish because they're getting close to that period, that time when they will be tested. I have every reason to feel encouraged based on all that I have heard and my exposure to the professionals who are responsible for this, that our children will do just fine. And I'm looking forward to the improvement in their performance over last year because we have engaged certain facilities and certain techniques like our coaching system and so on. So I'm satisfied that with that having been done over last year, that our students will respond in a positive way and we will see the kind of results that we all hope for.
On March 19 and 20, students will sit the performance task exam in language arts and mathematics, followed by the curriculum-based test on April 23 and 24 in language arts and science and mathematics and social studies. According to Mr. Samuda, timetables and verification lists have been distributed to primary institutions. Training for residing examiners and invigilators is slated to end by February 21.
For all the effort that has been put into this program, which is at the heart of our strategy to improving the educational system in the country and to be able to identify the strengths and weaknesses of every child. And with all the effort that is being put into ensuring that the educational system begins to make up all the deficiencies that we have suffered in terms of addressing the problems of inequity within the system, where every child, every single child born in this country must be given an equal opportunity to achieve their maximum God-given talents through our educational system. That is the commitment. I'm sure I speak for every single educator. That is our mission, that is our objective, and I want to thank all the professionals in the ministry who have spent such a lot of time and effort, sometimes into the night, preparing for this very important exercise.
In this week's Culinary Trails, our reporter Simone Absalom is staking out new eatery called the Veggie Campus.
It's one of the cheapest vegetarian food in the island, best believe me. If you go anywhere and get this style of food, can't pay for it.
So I'm about to chat with Aaron. He's a chef here at Veggie Campus. Thanks so very much for agreeing to speak with us, sir.
Give thanks.
All right, so tell us about Veggie Campus.
Well, Veggie Campus is all about providing people accessibility to good food, not just vegan or vegetarian food, but just good food, isn't it? Every single time. I think that's one of our strongholds. We are leading in flavor, style, creativity all around. That's where Veggie Campus is the number one go-to spot for vegan food right now in Kingston.
Tell us about the menu.
Our menu changes daily, like every single day our menu changes. One thing that really rotates is like, let's say for instance, a cauliflower wing. That's one of our most famous dishes. And people love the cauliflower. We also do stews. Today I did a split pea stew, served with chocha, so we call it a split pea surprise. Days we do like garlic mashed potato. Some days we do rice. We try to do pasta, try to do both gluten-free and gluten pasta. We also try to do salads as well. Today I made a pineapple and kale salad. So we try to keep it balanced and versatile. I personally feel like we cater to the world because since being at this local spot, people have come here, taste their food from all different places of the world. People from Jamaica, different parishes, isn't it? So it's not just one specific person or a specific age group because I have cooked for people in their 80s, 70s, 40s, 30s, 20s, and children, so it doesn't really specify.
What makes your dishes different from other vegan places?
The style and image. For me, I'll if I cook the food, if it have a certain image, I'm not going to sell it or serve it, isn't it? And if it have a certain image in the pot, by the time you come out the pot, I create the image so it can be more pleasing to your eye. When you eat it, the eye, your soul gets satisfied, isn't it? And you start to smell it, you start to say, alright, cool. And eat that, isn't it? So smell, style, image, and taste. Food of a clapping all spectrum, isn't it?
What kind of vibe can they expect here at Veggie Campus?
We all carry the energy of the places, walk with energy. So Nella right there. People come here and sit down in the chair and can't move. It's either because of the conversations, it's because of the food. I just want to steer power, isn't it? I just want to say, John, no, start them better like cook food. Yo, them shit!
Of drinks?
Some days I have a variety of juice like the June plum, star fruit, jimbalin, or five finger, as some Jamaicans will call it, beetroot, ribena, cucumber, and sometimes some peanut punch and Irish mustard. So we're kind of versatile in the juice area too because I mean, what is a meal without a nice proper healthy juice? So this is iron. chef at Veggie Campus. I'm inviting you out to come try the food. You see me? And you won't be mistaken. Trust me, word on it. They were good. Vegetarian food, affordable, creativity. Can't miss. You see me?
It. If you ever want to try straight vegan food, your first stop should be Veggie Campus. See you next time on Culinary Trails.
The US dollar on Thursday, February 13, ended trading at $142.58, up by 4 cents, according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily exchange trading summary. Meanwhile, the Canadian dollar ended trading at $108.13, up from $106.78, while the British pound sterling ended trading at $186.31, up from $183.94. In regional news, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, says dengue cases are on the rise in the Americas, including the Caribbean, with more than 3 million cases reported in 2019. The figure exceeds the 2.4 million cases reported in 2015. In 2019, PAHO said more than 1,500 people died of dengue. Given its large population, PAHO said Brazil had over 2 million cases in 2019, 70% of the total reported in the region, and more than half of all deaths from the disease. Data from Jamaica's Ministry of Health indicates that 5,468 suspected cases of dengue were reported from across Jamaica in 2019. Dengue is spread by the Aedes aegypti mosquito and generally results in flu-like symptoms such as high fever, headaches, joint pain, and rashes. It can be fatal if not properly diagnosed and treated. As Guyana prepares to go to the polls on March 2, 11 contesting political parties signed a political code of conduct on Thursday. The signing was organized by the Ethics Relations Commission. We get more from news source Guyana's Gordon Mosley.
The 11 political parties contesting the upcoming elections have signed on to the Code of Conduct for political parties and are committing themselves to promoting harmony and unity among Guyanese. The Code of Conduct was put together by the Ethnic Relations Commission and has incorporated input and suggestions from some of the political parties. The chairman of the Ethnic Relations Commission, Reverend John Smith, said he is pleased that the political parties have signed on to the Code of Conduct, indicating that it was the first time that the Ethnic Relations Commission embarked on such an endeavor.
I would like to thank the officials of all the parties involved for being available and for working with us during the past weeks. This is also a historic moment for the ERC. It is the first time since its establishment it would have endeavored to have a code of conduct for an election.
Reverend Smith said the commission still has concerns about some of the statements being made on the campaign trail. He said he hopes the code of conduct results in more responsible behavior by the various campaigns and their speakers.
Internal reports compiled from monitoring public meetings and the traditional and non-traditional media, including Facebook, are major cause for concern. With behavior and utterances not helpful to the efforts of promoting harmony, we urge all to work towards eliminating such public displays through a more responsible approach in an effort to ensure that the remaining period of the campaign is free of ethnic division, discrimination, hate speech, incitement, and provocation.
Mr. Smith also reiterated the ERC's call for free and fair elections and underscored the importance of the media being fair in its reporting during this period. The Ethnic Relations Commission chairman made it known that the Ethnic Relations Commission cannot deliver the mandate of the commission by itself, and therefore the rest of Guyana must support its work. The political parties have given an undertaking to continue to support the work of the ERC.
We believe it is something that, in your words, was birthed out of political discord. But I can say it is now realized by political discourse, because this code of conduct was a process which started some time ago and has now taken us to this point where we commit our parties to behave in a certain way during the elections campaign, on the election day itself, and immediately after.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank the ERC for this initiative. It was much needed given the current climate. I think if you go through social media and if you see some of the signs on the roads, you would really appreciate this effort that you've taken. Change Guyana has always had as its main focus inclusivity. I think that's what stemmed the formation of the party, and that's what attracted everyone to join.
Mr. Chairman and members of the ERC, I would like to congratulate you for this occasion and for the preparation of this code of conduct. And your weight is not inconsiderable too, having had the power to bring all of us here to sign this document.
As a new and emerging party, I have to contend with Mr. Ramkaran for that clout that he's talking about, and we hope that come March 2nd, after that election, will be runoff, free and fair, of course, and free of, most importantly, from violence and intimidation, that we are able to represent the Guyanese people in Parliament.
And staying in Guyana, as that country is slated to lift its 1 million barrels of oil early next week. This after government and ExxonMobil settled on a value for the oil being extracted. The details in this HGP TV news report.
Guyana's first lift of 1 million barrels of oil is scheduled for early next week. Dr. Mark Bino, director of the Department of Energy, says this will represent part of Guyana's profit oil allocation of 12.5%.
Additionally, the country will be receiving its 2% royalty on gross production of all oil produced. The monies from the sale of Guyana's crude and its cash-based royalty will be deposited into the Natural Resource Fund account that is being managed by the Bank of Guyana.
Late last January, Exxon announced its 16th oil find offshore Guyana. Its first announcement was in May of 2015. The estimates of the resource have now moved to 8 billion barrels.
To date, Liza 1 field has produced over 2.7 million barrels of oil, of which Exxon has had its first 2 lifts. And as I indicated earlier, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana will have her first lift, which is third in line early in the new week.
The Department of Energy had previously announced that Shell Western Supply and Trading Limited will buy Guyana's first 3 lifts, an introductory phase of release crude grade into the market. According to the department, Shell was selected based on competitive pricing that limits the government's exposure to market uncertainty. The size, scale, and global reach of the Shell trading operations, the company's high level of integration between upstream, among other factors. Meanwhile, the hull for the second floating production, storage, and offloading vessel, the Liza Unity, has been completed. It sailed from Shanghai on December 29, 2019.
The topside fabrication is progressing well. These are the modules, basically the accommodation modules, the compressor modules, the gas modules. They're all currently being constructed, 19 such modules, which will then be placed on the hull, or which we want to call it the foundation of the boat, which will then be built out as we begin to hook up various elements of that structure.
Additionally, there are some 4 drill ships in Guyana, which continue to explore and appraise new resources, as well as develop the resources within approved projects. A 5th drill ship is expected to be deployed later this year. Handel Duncan, HGP Nightly News.
And we go to sports. Captain of the West Indies, Pollard, says the players are eager to face Sri Lanka in their first away tour for 2020. Both sides will meet in 3 ODIs and 2 T20 internationals from February 21 to March 6. The first ODI set for Colombo on February 21. And the West Indies women defeated Pakistan women by 19 runs in the third unofficial practice match at the Tawantin Cricket Ground, thereby winning the three-match series 2-0. The second match of the series was called off due to rain. Their first group game is on February 22 against Thailand at the WACA in Perth. And that's our news. Join us again on Monday, same time, same place, for more news sports right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.